So I think most of you know, if any of you want to speak, you're most welcome. And no need. What's being interesting to me is just seeing how, for some people, the whole focus is on whether to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. And for me, it seems like that's not seeing the deeper picture of what's going on, which is actually a much bigger story. Yeah. And then I see, people write me all kinds of stuff, it's like, just do the KD work and check and, just, do you, what happens if you believe this is true? Can you really know it? And all that kind of stuff. And, this idea of that to say no is war. And in some ways, I mean, it's like, well, there's just a lot of confusion that I see when I look at how people respond to quite simple posts. Anyway, yeah. So happy to explore anything with you guys. To me, it's like, I'd say the fine line is, can we be aware of what's going on without losing our sense of humor and without losing peace? That's, to me, the fine line, and then it's just like finding what life brings to you as your function in all of this. It might be, who knows what it is. It might be sitting home, it might be actively engaging, but I don't think that's up to you. I think that just unfolds itself. I saw an amazing video today. This guy in Ontario, he was somehow, I didn't listen really carefully to the whole story, but somehow he really got involved in looking at what was going on, and he ended up getting fined $1,200 in Canada, in Ontario, and he said, look, he's willing to pay that fine if they can produce evidence. I mean, if they can bring the evidence of the COVID particle, and they couldn't, and so now it's caused a whole re-looking. I mean, all the mandates are changing in Ontario, in Canada now, because of this court case that he is involved in. So that was his way of kind of getting involved, and it's exciting to see that. And there's court cases going on in the world. There's a lot going on. But I just see here today, I met with someone who her job has been like, there's so much new medical information coming up every day. Her job was 7 hours a day looking through all the new information and cherry picking what was useful for doctors. But none of the stuff I spoke about, she had never come across her desk. She just had never seen it. So that's how thorough the whole Yeah, the organization is it not letting people know about like ivermectin and other protocols that actually work. So, you know, that's where it's tricky. Unless people are really getting alternative information, if they only hear the mainstream thing, they're going to come to whatever conclusion they come to. But so far, as far as I know, the COVID has not been identified. And there's a beautiful video. This woman, I just posted it, who seems very highly qualified, talking about how the whole thing was a computer simulation. It was never actually, they never actually found anything. So, and now, and I watched another video where this guy was calling all these different places that do testing. And he said, listen, I think I have the Delta variant. Do you have a test for the Delta variant, please? And he called, I don't know how many places, and none of them had a test for the Delta variant. So they're claiming a Delta variant, but again, it's like the media jumps on board, and then all of a sudden you've got this media-driven with figures, with all this stuff, and it's, as far as I can see, it's all a lie. It's just a manipulation. So that's what I've been seeing. Pramanjali, please feel free.
For me, so difficult just to live because they put so much pressure on this vaccination. Yeah. And yesterday I just came back from a fair, so testing every day, wearing masks 9 hours a day. Everybody is vaccinated. I don't dare to say I'm not. So it becomes so strange. And now there are plans that in a few weeks I can't go to a restaurant anymore and I can't stay in a hotel. So that means I can't work anymore. And now sometimes I think, okay, then I take this vaccination just to live. Yeah, just to live. And then I think, oh no, I'm not. So I'm in just a, yeah, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I understand. And Katrina, look, there is, you know, so much pressure on people. So there's a few things that like, I just went to my doctor and I said, listen, I can't wear a mask because when I put on a mask, I get panic. And so I got an exemption. I'm signed by a doctor. So it is as simple as that. If you go to your doctor and you say, look, when I put on the mask, like I get traumatized, then they need to give you an exemption. So that's one thing you can do to avoid the masks. Up till now in Australia, you didn't have to actually show a medical exemption. You could just say I'm exempt. And they weren't allowed, but now they changed the law. You have to show the exemption. So I did the next thing. I went to the doctor. Okay, like when I put a mask on, it freaks me out. Okay, here's your exemption. The next thing is like, you know, it's like every country's got its own story. I mean, I'm not sure in Germany if there's any doctors that are willing to kind of play. You need to find your own way in it, because
that would be the best solution for me.
Yeah, if you can find it. You know, it's like my mind just works outside the box. It's like, wow, you know, it's the data that I'm getting now is that the people that are getting sick with the so-called Delta many of them have been fully vaccinated.
Yeah, yeah.
And dying. So the vaccines actually don't work. And there's a lot of experts that say that the vaccines are like, yeah, no knowing what will happen, but that it really messes with your nervous system. So it's, if you really check that out, then you got to see, okay, do I find another way of making a living? I mean, you're a smart woman. I'm sure if you've been doing that for years, and if you see, okay, look, do I need to? So nobody can tell you, Anna Katrina,
I
if you go
know.
with the vaccine, it will not. I will not blink. There will be no judgment, no. But I can just encourage you to really check out and see, look, if there's not another possibility, and be creative. Who knows what this opportunity is for? So, yeah. But anyway,
But if I could
yeah,
get something from the doctor that I don't have to wear a mask. Here in Germany, if you don't wear a mask, doesn't matter if you got something from the doctor. It's so difficult, so difficult.
yeah, yeah. So like I said, every country is different,
Yeah, yeah,
So you have to, it's like this, finding your sovereignty and your integrity and what you know to be true, and then finding a way to adjust your life to it. Look, people have lived through world wars, through lots of different circumstances, and found ways to manage, So now it's our chance. Not nice. We didn't ask for it. Here we are, you know. And I know it's not easy. I really know it's not easy. In
yes.
Australia now they're starting to send the army out,
Yeah,
going door to door. Yeah, and it's like really trying to force people, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
and sometimes there's hope that it will change, but I
yeah. Well,
know it won't change. So
we don't know that. We don't really know. There's a huge court case going on at the moment, and it's worth seeing the latest news about that court case. Just to Google Fulmach, you know him, who he is, and
yeah, I know.
yeah, and he's on it, and I mean, there's all kinds of things going on both sides, and we don't hear. The mainstream will
Yeah,
not put out the news of the good news. So that's the trouble. So it's like it seems pretty hopeless, but then like you hear from the other side, there are a lot of people really actively involved in trying to shift where it looks like it wants to go. So we'll see. Yeah. Marcus, his name is I think Rainer, right? Rainer Fulmach. So
yeah,
you would know it.
yeah.
Yeah. Rainer Fulmach. And yeah, just Google him. There's some really amazing videos about what's going on behind the scenes, all the evidence they have that this was planned and that this is part of a much bigger scheme. He's got it all. What remains to be seen, if the judicial system still has some integrity left. We'll see. Yeah, but you're not alone, Anna Katrina. And whatever you do, you belong and you're welcome. And yeah, just in a way, just watch where your system goes into collapse, and you do it out of collapse rather than out of creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I encourage you to find, if this job disappears because of what's going on, see if there's some other creative way that you can find to do your dance. And if you decide, no, it's too hard, I'm going to get the vaccination, that's what happens. Yeah.
I don't want it. I really don't want it.
That's very clear to me.
But I can see these thoughts coming up. Just
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's quite a form of giving up.
Yes, that's what I say. It's a collapse. It's a
Yeah,
collapse. Yeah. Just to recognize that, because that's one of the, that's one of the existential things when we're being attacked. The system will go into fight, flight, or freeze, or then if all those don't work, it goes into collapse.
yeah,
So it looks like your system's on the edge of collapse, and it's okay. That's just part of what happens when there's existential threats. But once you know it, you see it, it's okay. The system can do it. Yeah. I see you, Sylvia. After Anna Katrina, you can be next, but in the meantime.
and I'm so shocked about all my friends and people around me. Everybody is believing this thing. Uh, Sometimes I think they are intelligent people. How can this happen? I'm speechless.
What I see is that I think if anyone really is interested, they would get the right information. But the difficulty is that a lot of people, they make their mind up and then they confirm their belief system through Googling and to trust Google with with a clue. I mean, it's like, but they don't know it, that Google has been completely compromised. They just don't know it. So they trust it. And then, it's like, so I see that when people are scared, they don't have access to
Yeah.
their intelligence. They
Mhm.
don't have access to it. It's literally, it shuts down. So then they're in survival. How do I survive this? And the pressure is huge.
Yeah.
So I understand some people go with it. You've seen what's happened in my circles. I mean, a lot of people don't want to know me anymore and have a lot of judgment about me. But what to do? It's okay. As I tell you, there's so many other people that I'm getting hundreds of friend requests these days just because of standing up a bit. But it's crazy times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what other people think. That each person's got their journey. That actually, the other day I was sitting in a cafe getting a coffee, and there were two young people. And I just started up a conversation with them. I said, "So, what's your take on what's happening?" And they said, "It's an intelligence test." seeing who's intelligent and who's not. The people. But it's I like their simple approach. They just said it's an intelligence test. Yeah. So very aware, just seeing what's going on. Yeah. Pretty relaxed in it. But it's, in this area, it's relatively easy to be relaxed up to now because, yeah, half the people don't wear masks.
Oh,
And yeah, they want you to sign in everywhere. And yeah, I don't, most of the time I don't. I just don't. I ignore it completely. But sometimes I pretend to hold my camera to the thing and look like I'm doing the thing. But I don't know. It's a funny time. What can you do? Yeah. Some of us, yeah. I just see how, this has been such a big opportunity for me because at first my system was really getting activated by the people I love, kind of and respect, going and really attacking me and all that stuff. And okay, wow. And then going and getting vaccinated, and some of my kids too, and nothing I could do, just watch. Okay, yeah, I love you. It's like that. Yeah. And we'll see. with luck, what some of these really experts are saying about what's going to happen to people that have been vaxxed won't be as severe. Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, many times I think so, okay, my focus is on a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that a miracle will happen and things will change.
Yeah, the difficulty with that is it moves into hope.
Okay,
Katrina.
yeah.
Yeah. And so then the other side is hopelessness. So just to be careful, here we are now. It's an exciting time. We hear the world has gone, it's always been crazy, but now it's even crazier. And not to lose our sense of humor and to stay with what we love as peace, love, beauty. I mean, that's how I see it anyway. And some people see it differently. And to be able to say no. I mean, you look, Mandela was put in terrible circumstances for how many years in prison, like tortured and all that stuff. And yet remaining true in a way. And without, I guess, 30 years or something. That's a long time. Like, so who knows how long this lasts? But a good chance to look fresh at everything and just, and there's something that knows peace. You know it. Yeah. And that cannot be touched. At some point, dying will happen for all of us. If dying happens tomorrow, I'll say thank you, man. It's been I've really had a good time. It's not a big deal, somehow we just don't want to be convenienced before we die, but at some point, we go to sleep every night and it's actually quite lovely. And just to watch again and again. Humankind has been through this movie so many times, yeah. And we carry old information from, the last invasion, this invasion, all this stuff. I mean, my God. You know that story I tell about that monk? He's in the monastery and there was another invasion happening and they were killing everybody they came across, men, women, children. And of course, people fled when they could get away. And there were a few monks and they all left and he had the monastery to himself. And it just happened that the general of that army came through that little monastery and he stood in front of that monk, the general, and he said, "You know who I am? I could cut off your head and not even blink an eye." And the little monk looked at him and said, "You know who I am? You could cut off my head and I wouldn't blink an eye." Yeah. So somehow coming to that. And we know that. It's okay.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, thanks, Anna Katrina. Yeah, really good to see you. Just know you have a community, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sylvie. Hey, sweetheart.
Hi, Isaac. My camera has its own wheel today, so it looks very blurry. I see
No, it looks
blurry. Do you see?
okay. No, I see you clear. I can see every wrinkle.
Oh, really? Oh, no. Okay, I see myself blurry, but I'm happy that you can see me. Okay.
Sorry, that was only joking. There's not many wrinkles.
No, I like it. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
I can handle it. No, I wanted to say a few things. First, to Anna Katrina, that maybe you can try bed and breakfast or something when you have to go for your work and you have to sleep somewhere. You know, there are different possibilities for staying everywhere, I think. And the next I wanted to say is there are 3 options for vexed people to detox. So I can put it in the chat, and there are some, how do you say that in English? Like investigations for the detoxing of the mRNA vaccination. So it can be detoxed from your system. And
some of them, it's good. There's 5 different ones, so it's good to know which ones you can do that with. Yeah.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat later. And I wanted to know, Isaac, for my own lawsuit, do you know if the virus ever has been isolated?
No.
Never.
Still not. Never. I sent you a link Sylvie. There's this woman that speaks so clearly about it, and she's well respected.
I watched.
I don't know if you watch that yet.
Yeah, the blonde woman.
Watch the whole thing. She's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, and she speaks about the isolation of the virus also.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, because you know Susanne Gieling.
Mm-hmm.
From the Sangha also, and she sent it to me this morning. She said, maybe for your lawsuit, you can say that they have to prove that the virus is isolated or not. And she said,
yes,
you win, because it's not been isolated, never.
Thanks, Marina. Dr. Sam Bailey. So if you want to Google her, maybe people can find her.
Okay, yeah, I'll watch the complete video also then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was what I wanted to say.
And thank you for also just supporting each other with practical information.
Yeah,
that's a great idea, bed and breakfast. Yeah, it's good that we can support each other. Okay, thanks, Sylvie.
Thank you.
Jennifer. Great. There's a few hands coming. Go for it, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi. You know, just you wrote to me a little while back about what action to take, and you know, I get hammered a lot on Facebook around, you know, come on, you're a man of you're here for truth, and what you're spreading is something that's not peace and all that stuff. And I go, look, come on, you know. One time Popji was asked about going to war, and Popji responded, one of the best meditations is looking down the barrel of a rifle. Because, you know, he's from the Hindu tradition where there was the Ramayana, where, you know, something similar was going on at that time, where Krishna went to Arjuna, who was the mighty warrior of the land, and he said, look, what's going on? We need to go to battle. And Arjuna said, but these are my uncles and my aunts and my cousins and my, you know, my friends. And Krishna said, just he had the capacity to show him what would happen if he didn't go to war. And when Arjuna said, you know, Krishna said, you're Dharma, you're a warrior, so, and I'll be your charioteer. And they went to war, and, you know, he did what he did as a warrior. But, you know, it's like, so there's no right way or wrong way to stand up. You know, we can stand up with little acts of kindness. We can stand up with really staying centered. We can stand up with actually, you know, supporting class action suits. There's many, many ways of supporting each other in community. And I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. I think that's predetermined in a certain way by, you know, whatever else we've been through. But
Well, I just heard, I mean, someone put it to me, said that, oh, we're perpetuating it, or I am, or all of us who are getting involved is perpetuating rather than just let the pendulum swing back and forth. And I thought, well, are we perpetuating it, or are we actually just standing up and saying no? And how can we do that without going into division and separation? Because it seems like it triggers everyone's, yeah.
that's our dharma. Our dharma is, how do we say no with going into division? And, you know, I think that's really, for me, it's super important. I just, you know, I know that there's people in the Sangha that have been vaccinated. They welcome at the meetings. For me, it's never an issue that
Sure.
they're wrong for having done what they did. It's not like that for me. And so, you know, it's like having grown up in South Africa, I can say, you know, I didn't even know apartheid was, I thought that was the way it was everywhere in the world. I just didn't have a clue, because there were, you know, the newspapers were highly censored and there was no television. So, and my parents were not political. So, you know, it was just, and then suddenly I went, what? I just have been asleep. I didn't know it. And then I, you know, of course I got kind of a bit radical and all that stuff. And then you start coming into the other side. Oh, you know, like you're a terrorist, or you're a communist, or labels start coming out. And so
Yeah, I've had a few of those slung at me, but that's okay.
yeah, that's you know, to do with it. It's just like, okay, I see we have a different perspective. I mean, like, I'm in conversation with a lot of people, I could say, that really, you know, like to, yeah, look, I checked with someone, and Fauci is a good man. He's really, I mean, I go, okay, well, you know, I guess maybe he is. I have no way of knowing, but to me, it seems like he knew about ivermectin, and he really, you know, he was very instrumental in stopping it. And as a result of that, a lot of people died. Now, are there consequences with, you know, if there's, yeah, again, hard to say, but so.
It just feels like a war, though. The
It
narrative now is to
is
perpetuate. Okay, so they want this war between people who are vaxxed and not vaxxed, and they're starting to blame us to say, oh, we're creating the next variant. And I'm like, this is getting more insane. Like, it's easier not to be around anyone.
Look, that is standard. That's what Hitler did with the Jews. You know, he said that they were spreaders of disease, and, you know, people got very freaked out, even long-term friends and family, you know, to speak to anybody. It's like it's a standard tactic, I could say. And it's being used, and it's, you know, it's like people that are not vaxxed are being gaslighted heavy duty at the moment. And
big
so
time.
big time. And so just, okay, I see that's happening. And, you know, it's like, in a way, it's also, I think what we're all learning is which battles we can win and which battles aren't worth fighting. You know, it's like, it's just, yeah, you know, you come into some.
My president, I shouldn't say my president, but the president of the United States came on last night, and he was attacking two people. One is the governor of Florida, and the other one's the governor of Texas. I mean, he was literally attacking them to stop, you know, because they are the ones that are saying no to masks and vaccines. And now he's literally coming out and attacking them. So now it just feels like you're, you know, like you're a cornered rat, like you keep running away from this insanity, but it keeps coming closer. So yeah.
So just watch as you're speaking, because you can feel where there's a touch there. Not
Oh.
bad, wrong that there's a touch. It's not good,
Mm.
but just be aware of it. It's like the system is getting activated. And just so when that's noticed, okay, yeah, cool. Not worth losing your peace over. There's activation happening, and sweet activation. Thank you for trying to help me survive. I get it. You know, it's like I'm here. I'm not moving. You know, it's like, and just to watch how quick your system calms down again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we can serve each other. You know, it's like just because I know how quickly the system gets a touch, you know, someone you didn't anticipate, you know, slamming you, or you hear some news and, oh my God, where's this going? It's like, I mean, there's so much going on so many levels. I don't, you know, it's like somehow because of being a public figure, I must get, I'm not joking, 50 videos a day that people send me. I just don't have enough time in the day to watch all of them. So, but there's a few gems, and those ones I treasure, and I try and pass them on. And, you know, it's just, but it's also finding that balance where you're not so
Caught up
looking at the
in it.
bad news. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me learning, okay, cool, that's enough for today. And but there's a deep curiosity, you know, like I value seeing
Sometimes I
some.
feel like you go in one direction of reading and interest in discovering what's real or what's happening, and then there's the other side where I feel overwhelmed. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be. How is everyone else just going about thinking? It's almost like they got their vaccine and they just don't like they're not paying attention to anything. And I always think, is there a happy medium somewhere to not get swept away, but also not just put my head in the sand?
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, you know, nobody, that's our inquiry. Just, okay, here we are. We find ourselves on the planet at this time. This is our circumstance. Okay, there is in my view, it's World War III. It's going on right now.
Yeah.
And you know, if it doesn't take that much to see if this goes to its end, people that are unvaxxed will not be able to go shopping and all that stuff. You know, flying at this point, who gives a shit? But it's yeah. But there's some big names now. When you know they've been signed up for a concert, and they hear that people have to get a jab to go to the concert, they stand down. They don't do it.
Yeah.
So there's lots of there are people that are going, wait a second,
Yeah.
thanks, but no thanks. So it's you know, and that's where we don't. It's like, you know, I know you get some of that news like this, marches of 2 million people, and people, you know, like thousands of people going, no, stop, no, enough. So, you know, there is a tipping point, maybe, where enough people go, enough. I heard just another bit what I consider good news. Macron's whole Secret Service, his personal Secret Service that protects him, all resigned in mass. They said it's not worth dying over trying to protect you from this your
was
shit
it?
policies. All of his Secret Service. Again, you know, I believe it's true, but that's just a video someone sent me. It's like, yeah, so, you know, and we're seeing some places where the police are writing letters and going, look, we didn't sign up for this. But, you know, there's a lot of police that still believe in it. And so here we are. It's going backwards and forwards. A lot, you know, like there was a huge amount, a couple of interesting things happened. There was a huge protest in Melbourne, and the police have this tactic where they box a bunch of protesters in, they surround them and then pick them off one by one. And they came out en masse, but there was so many thousands more protesters than they bargained for, and they just had to give way. and start to block off the street so the protesters could walk. So that was one thing that happened. The second thing that happened in Sydney, there was a huge protest, and the police couldn't control it. And then there was a call to protest again, and so the police rounded up thousands of policemen, and nobody went to that protest. So, it's a funny. So there are funny things that are happening. There's some smart protesters. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. For me, it was just, when I wrote to you, it was really just about, I mean, I don't care anymore what people say, but it just, I felt like, is standing up perpetuating things? I guess that was my question. So, yeah.
You know, in South Africa, to say no to apartheid, was that keeping apartheid going, or was that like the cracking
Yeah,
wall?
it doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense, you know. It's like, I guess there's a way, if there's an emotional involvement, and then, you know, like going into a split, then it would be participating. But just to see clearly and go, nah, sorry. Just, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just, you know, as we exploring here together, do you guys sense that we're going into a split, or we, you know, like holding, just being space for it all? I mean, because that's an important distinction. It's not making anyone wrong. It's not, you know, it's just like, okay, we see what's going on. I honor everybody's journey. And yeah. Hi, Najma. I see you. Welcome.
Hi, Isaac. Yeah, it suits your question, because on speaking a lot about it, I still feel that there can easily be a rise of something like fear, and the way you all the time bring it back to peace and, you know, not taking position. That's very good to again get the system, more relaxed. And
fear, let fear come. It has no power if there's no resistance to it. You know, and it's just like, it's just like, okay, fear can come, it's welcome. Okay, yes, okay, what is it? It's a feeling in the belly, the mind wants to go and, you know, do its dance. You just see it for what it is. It's, you know, then it has no power. And it just gives you a sign that something in your system has activated. So it's a good indicator. It's not wrong, it's not bad, it just, there's an opportunity. Yeah, so that's the way I see it. Same thing with anger. You know, anger comes up, good, no problem. Something, there's a touch, it's an opportunity. It's not wrong, it's not bad, it's welcome.
Yeah. And what Jennifer said touched me, because I admire this Florida and Texas and things I've read about it. Yeah, the things happening, and also in Holland, the good things are, like, for instance, that a very brave person in parliament exposed our prime minister when he asked him about Klaus Schwab, and he was denying knowing him. But then this man said, "I have a letter from you to him about a book," and still the prime minister says, "Yeah, but this book, many people write me and about books, so I have a standard reply." And then this man went on, he said, this isn't a standard reply. You go into the content of the book and then suddenly this prime minister changed. His eyes became very bright and his smile was really warm, genuine. And he said, yeah, Klaus Schwab, but he's so much to admire and he has such good ideas. And he's also always listening to everything being spoken here in Parliament.
Mm.
And that was like, wow, but it got exposed through this man. So
Fantastic.
I found that
There are some, there are brave people, you know. It's like,
yeah.
and what that's what we're seeing is.
And one time went to one of the first demonstrations here against the COVID measures.
Yeah.
But they immediately put water, you know, everybody has to evacuate, water cannons, and whoever stays, there comes the military police. And in Holland, it's different because everybody still gets paid, I think, till October. So the real financial damage isn't so obvious yet. So I think with us, that sort of things come later.
You know, in my view, it's a numbers game. If enough people come, even if there's water cannons, you know, it's a numbers game. It's just like, so it's not, it hasn't gotten to that point yet where enough people go, no. But it'll come or it won't. We'll see. Not up to us.
Yeah, in France, there are a huge number of people protesting, but I find it a pity that in Holland it isn't happening also because everybody still feels sort of, financial secure. And I think that's a big reason to
well, that's part of the strategy is that, you know, in some countries they give money, but then at some point that money will dry up. They can't keep making money out of nothing.
Yeah. And another thing I heard is from a friend is that Lynn McTaggart and her husband, they've been investigating fact checkers. And they went all the way and they came to a firm in New York, which was totally supported by Big Pharma. That's what I heard.
Course.
I haven't seen it yet somewhere.
No,
but,
it's so clear. It is so clear. You know, when you've got $1 billion industry that you're going to, I mean, look, again, this is just my view. You don't have to agree with it, but, you know, we can see that Big Pharma is the biggest business by far on the planet at the moment. And do they affect government decisions? Absolutely. Money is in politics. We can see it. So politics has gotten completely corrupted. And so that's the world we live in at the moment, you know, and so, let's see, there's some very smart people working on different systems and stuff like that. We'll see what comes out of it. It's like, no way to know at this point.
And Mexico and especially India, I read this now, has in its protocol for COVID now that people have to use hydroxychloroquine with zinc, and also ivermectin. That is protocol now there. So that I found that also very good, very positive.
So you can see there's some, who knows, maybe a lot of people will move to Mexico and Sweden and Florida. It's like crazy times. Absolutely, man. My God. Here we are. An unlikely set of warriors. But thanks, Najma.
Thank you for offering.
Yeah, cool. Russia.
Okay.
And in the Amazon, the indigenous use their old plants.
In what?
In the Amazon,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
the indigenous use their healing plants. Yeah, now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. What else?
You know, I mean, as far as I know, the majority of people, if there is such a thing as COVID, when they get it, they don't even know they have it. Some people do get sick, but what's interesting is that, you know, there's all these numbers of COVID, but flu deaths has completely disappeared. And, you know, you tell someone you got COVID, I mean, it's like, in a way, it's kind of like this thing of, you know, like in South Africa, if a witch doctor points the stick at you, people die just because. So you tell someone you got COVID. I mean, of course, there's a lot. There's so many avenues of it, and people do get sick and people do die all the time. That happens. Now, if we start looking at it in another perspective, how many people are dying of hunger? How many people are dying of COVID? These staggering numbers are dying of, and then you've got diseases like tuberculosis, cancer. Where does COVID fit in with all of those things? I mean, there's so many ways of looking at this whole story. I think 50 years ago, one in 30,000 kids had autism. Now it's 1 in 50. That should ring, you know, that's like the canary in the coal mine. That's radical. What the hell is going on? But nobody, you know, people don't talk it. They don't put the dots together and go, wait a second, there's something here that's not functioning. Let's get a little intelligent around this.
Yeah, thank you that you speak about this.
Mm.
I just wanted to ask, why do they send the military out in Australia to force what?
To try and convince people to get
what?
vaccinated.
Ah,
To get vaccinated, yeah, because people weren't taking this fantastic opportunity to get vaccinated. Not enough people were taking it. So now they're trying to, yeah.
so I'm also very happy in Finland. Nobody cares if you have a mask or not.
Yeah.
And
Some areas are lucky. I mean, in some areas, man, it's heavy as hell. It's just what to do. And you see what you do. And
yeah, one more. How is it now for the unvaccinated to be with vaccinated people? Is there danger or not?
again, you know, it's like it seems like there's evidence that people that have been vaccinated can shed that's to people that have not been vaccinated.
Can shed.
I'm not an expert. I think, you know, it's like anything. If your immune system is relatively strong, it's like your system won't get too affected. But it's like, I know there's some around here people that have not been vaxxed will not have lovers that have been vaxxed just because of the exchange of bodily fluids. So
Exchange what, Isaac? I'm not so informed.
when you kiss and when you
Yeah. And what is happening?
then you can get shedding. You can get some of that spike protein into your system.
Spike code. Okay.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
So it's good to
Who
have
knows? Yeah.
a lover who is on the same wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Crazy times, but you know, it's like in this area, there's places that say, look, if you've been vaccinated, you know, please stay away for a little while after you've got the vax, because you know, anyway, it's just, we're living in very crazy times. I mean, I think we all know that. And then how to stay sane and at peace and, you know, like step up in whatever way is appropriate to your nervous system, to your conditioning, to your integrity. I don't think, you know, it's like, to me, to be gentle with each other and appreciative, honoring of each other's journey. That seems to me to be the opportunity. You know, I know tons of people that have been vaccinated. For me, I so can understand it. I just, okay, it's not, yeah, it's not what I would do, but I can understand why people would do it.
So the shedding is also happening if you don't kiss and all this. I mean, I have a dance group and they're all vaccinated.
Yeah, you know, again, it's try and inform yourself. Look around, see, you know, look on. There's some sites that are quite good with talking about the details of that. My own, how it is for me is, if someone wants to hug, I hug them. I'm not concerned whether they've been vaxxed or not. I mean, it's just, it is, everyone's got to find their own way with that. Would I take a lover that been vaccinated? No, at this point I wouldn't. That would be a deal breaker for me. Yeah. But not that I'm getting any offers, but anyway.
Thank you.
So.
Isaac?
Beautiful to sit with you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I wanted to say Pujarin Merkel had her internet hand up, so she wanted to.
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, welcome, Pujarin. Welcome. Hi. Oh, you're still muted on the left bottom of your screen.
Okay,
Yeah, cool.
okay.
I
just
now.
wanted to take the chance to say a big thank you to you.
Oh.
I've been with your satsangs for over 20 years, and it's for a big part, it's your fault when my capacity of watching in this time really has developed to some degree.
Often, I'm so happy to hear. I mean, really. Yeah.
You know, in a time like this, I would have freaked out completely. Not only because of COVID, there is a kind of big things going on around me, my family and everything. And still I find myself able to have some kind of curiosity and watch what happens.
That is fantastic. Really, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
Oh, love it. Yeah, thanks for speaking that. Yeah, nice to just meet for a moment and enjoy each other.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sylvie, for letting me know. I didn't see it. Yeah, the easiest for my eye to see if someone makes some movement, because the hands are not. They don't. I haven't been looking for them, so now I can try and include that. Hans. Long time. How you doing?
I'm actually doing fine.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know you've been through quite a journey, eh?
I have, and that's what I wanted to talk about because it has coincided with the COVID, how you call it? Pandemic.
Story. Yeah.
Pan-
Scamdemic.
I started undergoing treatment for cancer
Yes.
January 2020.
Wow.
And that's about the same time when COVID started entering Europe, supposedly started entering Europe.
Yeah.
And well, when the first lockdown happened in the Netherlands, I really didn't notice because I was happily laying in bed, being totally exhausted from chemo and radiation, which happened simultaneously. And the only thing I really noticed of it is the nurse that would come every morning to shower, to put me in the shower and help me with that because I was too weak to do it myself. She stopped coming.
Oh, wow.
And somehow on my phone, I was able to read a bit on the internet and okay, so people are stocking up toilet paper everywhere. Why the fuck are they doing that? There's a pandemic going. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That people really need toilet paper. And so when when I was able to come out of bed, and I distinctly remember the first time I went to the supermarket again to do some shopping, and I was really happy. Oh my God, I'm able to get into my car and I am able to drive and I'm able to go to the supermarket. What a parking! And I was totally shocked to come into a world where people were wearing masks. You were obliged to take a shopping cart into the supermarket because that was the way you could keep your distance to others. There was one thing in this whole period which I've learned a lot from. Is when I was in bed and you do not have the energy to wind yourself up about the things that disturb you, you know, like I can't be bothered. I don't.
Yeah.
You only have one choice, and that is to let go.
Yes. Yeah. Far out.
And so I've been letting go, and I've let go. And at the bottom, where I've just about let everything go, including the will to live. No, not including the will to live, but just about dying would be okay.
Yes, I get it.
I came in a place where there was only love.
Oh, fantastic, Hans.
Yeah, and so conscious, loving indifference.
Far out, man.
So I don't really have a question. I just want to tell my story and hopefully you like it.
No, I loved it. I mean, wow, what a sharing. Just exquisite. And good to see you. And good to really see you and see how your system took this opportunity to really come to the bottom there, just find this love, you know. It's like, wow.
Well, I didn't do it. It just happened, you know.
No, I totally get it. Yeah.
I didn't.
And you're very clear on it.
Yeah. But ever since then, it's difficult for me to become scared.
Yeah.
So and I've seen what I've seen. It seems like a mass hypnosis. What I've seen going on around me, and
yeah.
At moments there is difficulty in I get angry and of course I do but in general it's just what the fuck. Wrong movie, man.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So I see this whole world that is trying to battle this COVID thing with all kind of technological, practical things, almost trying to manipulate life.
Yeah. It has no chance.
It
It cannot work. I mean, just
It cannot.
it cannot. So it's like, for example, these masks.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all because if there is a COVID particle, viruses are tiny. If you take a cigarette smoke and you breathe it, it goes straight through a mask.
Yeah.
Same thing if you fart. How come it goes right through your pants and your underpants? Everyone can smell it.
By the way, I'm farting now through my belly, huh?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's this paradox in life. On one hand, there is life always goes the way it is supposed to be.
Yeah.
The other one is I have freedom of choice and I create my
Yeah,
own.
that's not true though.
Is that not true?
Yeah. We can go through it. It's worth exploring.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Because I think they are both true, I think. But
Okay, no problem. No problem. So stay with that perspective and then let me ask you a few questions.
yeah.
Okay. So in waking state, there's a sense of I.
Yeah.
Okay. In deep sleep, that sense of I disappears.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we can look and just see, what is that sense of I? And, if you've ever explored any of the psychoactive substances, there's times when there's just, like you said, that unconditional love that's just there. There's nobody there. There's no boundaries. There's just love, loving itself everywhere. Yeah. So that sense of I, it's like, waking up happens, whatever time it happens, and then sometimes what we call waking up is the senses become active and they start getting information. Before then, we're not aware of what's around us. We're not aware of what's going on. And then waking up happens and then information starts to come in through the senses. And at some point there's like thinking starts to kick in. Like, where am I? What's going on? What's on my agenda today? That kind of stuff, which gives a sense of context, gives you a sense of location and a sense of context. Like in people with Alzheimer's or that activity stops, and then there's just, like a 2-year-old or something that's left when that activity stops. So that activity includes memory, like who I am, whom I'm upset with, who owes me money, So that sense of I is an activity. If that activity stops for a moment, what's left is unconditional love.
Yeah.
So then the question is, does that activity have the capacity to choose? It's just an activity. There's no one there. It gives the sense of someone there. See, the idea of choice is based on the sense that there's somebody there. John Lennon described it poetically. Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans. So, we're here in this moment. We receive the information of this moment through our senses, but it's always filtered through our conditioning and our trauma load. And then we end up with a perception or an experience that's filtered. that we think is reality, but in actuality, it's a waking dream. And it involves ideas, positions, all that stuff, which gives some sense of a me. But that sense of me is illusory. It's not, there's nobody actually there. It's just, so.
Uh-huh. I get that.
You understand. Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether I agree.
No problem.
Uh-huh.
So right now, in this moment, breathing is happening, right?
Yeah,
If I ask you who's breathing, you would say, I am.
I am.
But then actually look to see who's actually breathing. Is it you or is it just an automatic?
It's also an automatic, just like I'm not busy
Cool.
brushing my hair or beating my heart.
Exactly. Same thing now with thinking. We say, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But if you think you're thinking, just try to stop for 5 minutes. It's not a long time. Don't think for 5 minutes.
I'll always go on. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah. So thinking, thinking just happens. We don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
No, we don't.
yeah. So, and there's trillions of cells doing their thing, and there's a little activity that goes, should I have a cappuccino or a latte, that thinks it's in charge of everything, that thinks it's controlling the whole universe. It's kind of funny in a certain way, but it feels very real, and it likes to blame itself. It likes to blame other people, what looks like other people. It's just like, it's a, and it's conditioned. It's just so, when there's conditioning and trauma, there's a way of functioning that I say is automatic and unconscious.
Uh-huh.
And when it's automatic and unconscious, then who's doing it? It's the same thing as breathing. There's nobody doing it. So some of those activities go on and produce a sense of me or I. And when it's automatic and unconscious, there's zero choice.
That I agree in. That,
Yeah, cool. So far we found some agreement. Cool.
but when I'm at this place of unconditional love,
Yes.
back in March last year, where I'm happily in bed, not being able to move a muscle.
Yes.
That place of love is like almost absolute. I mean, a nuclear bomb can explode in that place, and it's okay because we are in surrender.
Yes. Exactly. So there's no choice in that. You can't decide to be. You can't choose to be. It's like it's grace. So something happens. It's a deep surrender. There's no I that can surrender. The absence of I is the surrender.
Yeah. Yeah. So then who exactly are these people that are doing all these lawsuits against vaccination policies of governments? Who are this absolute place of absolute love is not inviting for action because it's all about surrender.
No, that's not true. Love can say no loud and clear.
Uh-huh.
As unconditional love, if you see something happening where, like you see a child crying,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how unconditional love would respond, whether it would be the same in everyone, but most likely there would be something that offers comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if it's this funny thing, if you see, who knows what, I don't know what, like the other day in my garden here, in Australia, we have a lot of really poisonous snakes, and we have unpoisonous, not poisonous snakes and all that stuff. But the other day I got to witness a snake had caught another snake and it was busy swallowing it. Quite an amazing sight to watch. It's like, it took it a while, it caught the snake. I don't know even how, I only saw it once that it caught the thing, but it was busy swallowing it. Now, you know, I just watched it. There was no judgment in me that snakes shouldn't eat other snakes. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, okay, there's no action needed, just wonder, I could say like that, just seeing it. But on the other hand, if I saw an animal that was hurt and in some way I could give it comfort or assist it in some way, who knows?
Mhm.
You know, so it's like Micah was mowing the lawn and there was like a bush laying out over the lawn and she went underneath it and there was a snake there and the snake got injured. And so, but it was a non-poisonous snake. So we found a place that we could take that snake to that it could get healed. So it's just, you know, it's like, does love take that action or do you just say, no, it's just karma and you leave the snake? I don't know, you know, but I could say how it functioned was, okay, wow, is there someone that does take care of injured wildlife? Okay, how can we facilitate that? It's, you know, it's, so action happened, but it didn't come out of like a should or that's the right thing or anything. It was just the heart responding. Yeah. So
that's the heart as an autonomous function, you would say.
yes, I would say it like that. Yeah. So it's like, there's a story that I love. There was this guy who went to Japan because he was into martial arts and he studied and he became a black belt with, you know, so many dans and all that stuff. And he got onto a train going somewhere and there was a drunk guy on the train who was kind of harassing the passengers on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy thought, well, look, you know, if he goes any more with us, I'm just going to put him down. All of a sudden, there's a little old man on the train who says to this drunk guy, "Hey, man, what you drinking?" And I go, "Sake." He says, "Come sit next to me. I also like sake. Come sit here." And he started talking to this guy. What happened? Oh, my wife died. And I mean, within a short time, this guy that was belligerent and troubling people was being comforted and met. He, you know, this karate guy was out of a job. And he just, something in him really saw the arrogance of his perspective, because here another guy had, with very skillful means, met this guy right where he was. He understood, he could see that he was grieving and he met him. So is there a right way or a wrong way? I don't know. I just know, you know, sometimes our hearts respond and meet someone in the most beautiful way that brings them to peace. And we all have that capacity, not at every moment. Sometimes our systems are too distracted or too fucked up, doesn't act appropriately. But yes, action can happen, not a problem.
Aha.
And that's not something you can plan, you know, it's really, it's spontaneous. It just happens out of, you know.
Yeah. And I still, you know, I agree with a lot. I still, but who exactly is this person who chooses to live in love instead of fear? Who
I
chooses
don't think, you see, so that it's a good question. A way to describe it in words that maybe resonates with your own experience and unknowing is like, as life goes on, different interests come. When you were a kid, you know, you had certain interests, maybe toys or Meccano sets or who knows what. And then another interest comes and another interest comes. And, you know, those interests end up informing us and also giving skill sets. So the question then becomes, where do those interests come from? You know, are we in control of what interests us? You know, some people get interested in playing music, some people get interested in painting, some people get into building computers, some people get interested in whatever. And those interests just seem to come by themselves. Sometimes they stay a while, sometimes they stay a lifetime, sometimes they just over. So what was passionate, just no interest anymore. So to me, it seems that, like, for some people, an interest came in justice or the law or whatever it is, and they get how could I say, a skill set. And for some people, because of their conditioning and their personality, they use that skill set for criminal enterprises. Other people get that skill set and they, oh, well, how can that be of service? And how does that happen? It's just, it's like, it's just different movements. Some people just, so how does that all work? To me, it just seems it happens by itself according to, we can't really say where it comes from, it's like, so, if there's a person that's highly traumatized, what'll show up in their life is upset after upset and all kinds of compensations and usually addictions and all kinds of stuff that life is going to happen through. Is there any choice in that? Not really. But for some of those people, there's enough suffering that an inquiry starts. They start seeking out someone who can assist them, integrating some of that and bringing it to peace. And then it's amazing because what used to trouble just doesn't trouble anymore. And then, sometimes they find themselves meeting other people that are also living through a trauma vortex and they are able to assist. So it's like that, this process that you went through that brought you to, like I could say, a recognition of a possibility of living as unconditional love was directly experienced. It wasn't something you looked for or something you did, but once your system knows it as a possibility, my God, it wants to live like that. So then it starts to become interested in that, it's like, wow, okay.
No longer unsee it.
Yes, exactly. Once it's not theoretical anymore. It's not about so it's like once you've learned to ride a bike, even if you don't ride for 20, 30 years, you get on again and your system knows how to do it. So, but for me, the first time you could say I tasted or experienced unconditional love, it was like, wow, if that's possible, there's no doubt I want to live like that.
I know.
Absolutely. So it's very deep interest, like what is going on that appeared like that miraculously, and what stops it from happening the rest of the time. So it completely shifted my life, completely. Just that one experience started this whole journey for me. And still, that's the journey I'm on. I mean, that's all. That's the only interest. It's like, okay, now COVID, good. Well, still that interest, yeah. So that's how I see it. I mean, whether that resonates with your own knowing, it's like
it does, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's
No problem. No problem. Yeah, I love that you can be honest, it's cool. It's not, it's just, for me, I can ask questions and I can point, and then, it's like, I don't know how many times it's happened that someone says, my God, I've heard you say that so many times, but then suddenly something just clicked and I get it. And, that's not up to you and that's not up to me. At best, I can just point and, yeah. And it's beautiful that you can be in integrity and say, yes, some of it resonates, some of it doesn't. No problem at all.
No problem. No, I know. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. Good to see you. Sylvie, and then Connie after that. Sylvie?
Yeah, just a short question, Isaac. What is your feeling about the supermarkets and the food stores and things like that? Because I don't know if it's true, but several mediums are saying buy food for 3 months and prepare yourself a bit. And so we did. But what is your intuition about it?
Yeah, again, my feeling is that part of the movement to control is going to be controlling food supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard from on some videos, which you never know how true they are, but people that are high up in the military saying, yeah, there's going to be disruption to supplies. So again, it's one of those things we can get fearful about, but at the same time, you know, if you have the means to stock up on a few things that can help you through a dry time when there's not much in the supermarkets, you'll use it up anyway over time. So it's not a bad thing to do. It's really funny times. It is like that. And so whether or not, you know, it's like we can see how well thought out this whole thing has been, and my feeling is that that's part of the plan. Whether or not it'll be able to be executed, we'll see. But I've heard also that there's warehouses where there's food and someone is letting it rot in the warehouses rather than getting to people on the basis of, you know, using COVID as an excuse. So we don't have enough drivers or whatever. But it's nonsense in my view.
Yeah.
It's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's funny times. It really is funny times. I mean, yeah. 3 months, you could fast that long if you got water.
Yeah. I will buy some extra food. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Sprouts are good, you know, because that gives you fresh stuff. So, and it doesn't take up much space, and then you get a bit of water, and within a few days, you've got fresh, some of the most nutritious food on the planet.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then there was Connie. Hey,
Hi,
Connie.
Isaac. Hi. I would like to share that just a few days before I got COVID, if it's COVID.
If it's COVID, yeah, great, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got in contact with this really field. It was like just 2 days before there was this tornado going through my thing with all kinds of fears and terrible stuff. it was like
Yeah.
crazy, and I just let it go through, and I thought, okay,
True. Yeah.
this is it. But after that, I got this flu, and it scared me. There seems to be a complete field somewhere. So if you're talking about is Third World War, what are the forces exactly? Could you say something about it? Or
You know, one way of seeing it is that there is no separation. And so it's like if you watch a puppet show and there's, you know, this male puppet and the female puppet and they fighting with each other and all this stuff. But who's, you know, it's not the puppets. Something is pulling the strings of that, right? So
Yeah.
here's all these expressions of life. It looks like they're individual, but actually who's pulling the strings? There's some great intelligence that's playing every part. Now, do we know what this whole thing is good for? Is it pushing some people to wake up? Is it pushing, you know, it looks like it's going in a terrible, but is this also the seed for something brand new to be birthed on this planet? We don't know, you know, we just know, wow, at the moment it looks really weird. But, you know, when I look, I see, we have no idea what's going on in our own bodies, in the world, in the universe. Are there other species from other planets? We don't know. We just know we're here and there's something really weird, I mean, going on here. Who the fuck's doing it? We can say, you know, like there's always been like this corporate philosophy that would promote wars and that would, you know, provide money to both sides of the conflict and, you know, get benefit out of it. So there's a certain aspect of consciousness that behaves that way. And then there's other aspects of it that really, you know, are of service. And it's all part of the same great intelligence. And is there an evolution of consciousness? Looks like it. And is this birthing something new? We just don't know, you know. That's what I see, at least. So, you know, if we believe the stories, there were dinosaurs around for 200 million years, suddenly something happened and they're all gone. And that enabled a little rat to become a human, you know. And so if, again, it's a lovely story. I don't know if we really know that it's true, but we're watching this movie unfold here, so might as well enjoy it and be.
there's also after being, I know compared to what Hans said, it's nothing, but like after 12 days of sort of isolation, then after that, so many tears came from all the times that I've been isolated for. I mean, wow, it's
And to
immense.
me,
And
when I
it's
look
still
at you
going
now, I
on.
see that there's been a huge cleansing in you, huge. And that's what fevers are good for. You know, I think that's the function of viruses in our ecology, so to speak. They get clean out. Well, they either clean you out or they kill you. So I think it did its job well with you. Here we are. That's much enough. The rest, good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Connie. Yeah. No, thank you, everybody, for showing up and exploring together and playing and enjoying each other and being in good company. At least it felt like good company to me. Yeah, thank you, Sylvie, very much for hosting. Yeah, Is there interest in having another current events meeting? If there is some interest in it? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, it's like in the Tuesday and Sunday meetings, it doesn't so much focus on current events, but it's the same thing in a certain sense. It's just, but I feel it's useful to have, it's to be isolated and not have a sense of community is not healthy. So it's beautiful to be able to come together to talk about what's going on practically, and yeah. So we'll schedule another one, and it'll be on Facebook, I guess, and on my website. If I can get the person that does it to actually put it on. So, yeah. Huge hugs, love, peace, beauty, bliss. Yeah. May all beings be happy, be at peace. Yeah. Cheers.
When love, only love sits in your heart, and so fear it has no place, fear has no place,
Cheers.
fear has no place here. When love, only love sits in your heart, and so fear it has no place, fear has no place, fear has no place here. Only by love, only by loving, 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 only by love. Fear has no place. Fear has no place here. When love, only love sits in your heart, and so fear it has no place, fear has no place, fear has no place here. Only by love, only by loving, 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 only by love, only by loving. Fear has no place. Fear has no place here. Only by love, only by loving, only by love, only by loving. by love.